All right, Lakers fans, let's get into it, because things are starting to move in a way that could reshape the entire league. The big question on everyone's mind is Giannis Antetokounmpo and whether the Lakers will keep waiting for him, not just for this trade deadline, but also heading into the offseason. It's not just Los Angeles either. There are several teams, including Miami and others, who are essentially in a holding pattern, watching to see what happens with Giannis. The buzz around the league is that he could still be available for a trade this deadline, and that possibility alone has teams on edge. The way I see it, the only real way Giannis could qualify for a supermax deal is if he's traded by the deadline, and that creates a weird incentive structure. If he wants that supermax, he might push for a trade now, which makes the entire situation even more complicated for the Bucks. Right now, Milwaukee feels like it's on life support. They're scrambling, trying to find a move or a trade that could somehow change their trajectory. But the reality is that there isn't anything realistic out there that can suddenly make them a contender. Even if the Bucks somehow pull off a big move, like adding a strong star piece, I just don't see it being enough to make them a true championship threat. Sure, you might get a player who could be a solid foundation in a post-Giannis era, but that still doesn't solve the immediate problem. The biggest issue is that the Bucks are not positioned to be a contender in a way that would convince Giannis to stay long-term. The writing is on the wall, and if he does get traded, I think it's more likely to happen in the offseason. To me, this feels very similar to the Kawhi Leonard situation. It's not a terrible plan at all, because even though the Lakers missed out on Kawhi, they still had enough assets to build a contender around. In this offseason, there are a lot of players who make sense for Los Angeles. So if the Lakers are waiting for Giannis, everything could be put on pause. The league might slow down because everyone is waiting to see what Giannis does, and also what Nikola Jokic decides if he does not sign an extension. That could lead to a temporary standstill across the NBA. But that pause might actually benefit the Lakers. It could give them the chance to make their push and position themselves for Giannis while still building around their core. If they land Giannis, they still have cap space to fill out the rest of the roster, and that becomes a huge advantage. It also makes the Lakers a more attractive destination for other players. Imagine being a free agent and thinking, I could play with LeBron and Giannis for the next 5 years. That kind of opportunity is rare. There have been reports that Giannis once wanted to play with Luka Doncic in Dallas a few seasons ago. And even though that did not happen, it shows that he's open to teaming up with other superstars. So if the Lakers can pull this off, it would be a massive shift in the league. And if they don't land Giannis, they still have a clear plan. There is enough talent available in free agency to build a contender around Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic, and that plan is still very viable. So you could argue that it is kind of a win-win situation for the Lakers. If they get Giannis, they have a duo with Luka that could dominate for years. If they miss out, they still have the flexibility to sign multiple key players and build a strong contender. Either way, the Lakers are not in a bad position. Now, some people might ask, would you be upset if the Lakers did nothing at the deadline? Honestly, I would not be angry, but I would be disappointed. I want to see the Lakers at least try to make a move and compete this year. It is possible they could make the playoffs and be dangerous, especially with Luka and LeBron on the court in a playoff setting. The Lakers actually have a lot of the pieces needed to win a championship in the playoffs, but it is not something I would count on or bet on. The team has been inconsistent, and that inconsistency is what makes them unpredictable. One moment, they look like they can beat anyone, and the next moment, they look like one of the worst teams in the league. If the Lakers can find consistency, then maybe things change. Once the trade deadline passes, players tend to buy in more because they know they are staying with the team. That can lead to a second-half push, and maybe the Lakers can surprise people. But as of now, I do not think the Lakers are good enough this season to be a serious title contender. I will be disappointed if they did not make any moves, because the reality is that they need help. And ideally, I do not expect them to land Giannis at this deadline, because they simply do not have the assets unless Giannis makes it clear he only wants to go to Los Angeles. I'm not sure he would do that, especially now. Maybe in the offseason, yes, but right now, I think he wants to play out the season. I think he will stay with Milwaukee for the rest of the year, and I do not think the Bucks will be able to make a trade that convinces him to stay. Now, if Giannis does decide to leave Milwaukee, the whole narrative changes. The big question becomes whether he will force his way to the Lakers or if he will be open to other destinations. Because if he wants to go elsewhere, there are plenty of teams that could put together a strong offer. That's why the Lakers need to be careful. If they wait too long and do not make any moves, they risk losing out on other key targets in free agency. The biggest issue is that the Lakers might not have the best package to offer Milwaukee unless they can get creative and turn Austin Reaves into multiple assets. Reaves is a great player, but the odds of him wanting to go to Milwaukee are slim. If he does not want to go, then the Lakers are stuck trying to figure out how to make a trade work without him. That could mean turning him into other pieces that Milwaukee would value, and that is not easy. If Reaves had already signed a long-term deal, the Lakers might be forced into that situation. But since he is still on his contract, the Lakers have some flexibility. If the Lakers do decide to make a move, they need to make sure they do not sacrifice the future. The last thing they want is to give up too many assets and then end up with nothing. The Lakers have a unique opportunity right now because they have cap space and a young core that can grow. They can still go out and sign players who will help immediately, but also keep flexibility for the future. That is the real key here. If they can add role players now, players who can fit alongside LeBron and Luka, then they can build a team that can compete regardless of what happens with Giannis. The thing is, the Lakers need role players. They cannot rely on star power alone. They need guys who can defend, who can hit shots, who can bring energy off the bench, and who can make the team stronger as a whole. That is why the names that keep coming up, like Keon Ellis and others, make so much sense. These are players who can help immediately and still fit into a long-term plan. But the clock is ticking. The Lakers cannot wait forever. If they do not make moves now, they risk other teams getting the players they want. Imagine Denver quietly signing someone like Peyton Watson or other teams adding key pieces that the Lakers were targeting. The Lakers could end up watching from the sidelines while their competition gets stronger. That would be a real problem, especially if Giannis decides to go elsewhere. The Lakers have to strike a balance between being patient and being proactive. They need to make moves that make sense now, but also keep their options open for the future. That is not an easy task, but it is possible if the front office is strategic. Now let's talk about the actual trade deadline and what the Lakers could realistically do. I do not think they're going to make a blockbuster move. The assets simply are not there for a Giannis-type trade, unless Giannis decides he only wants to go to Los Angeles. That would change everything, because then the Lakers could go all in. But as of now, it seems unlikely. That means the Lakers will probably focus on adding role players, maybe swapping contracts, or finding players who can help in the short term. That could be enough to give them a chance to make the playoffs and get into the mix. But the truth is, the Lakers need more than just a few role players. They need a plan. They need a vision for what the team will look like next year, and how they can build around Luka and LeBron. If they do land Giannis, then the whole plan becomes easier. They would have the superstar trio that everyone dreams about, and the rest of the roster would fall into place more easily. The Lakers would be able to attract other stars because the team would be a destination. Players want to be part of something special, and a team with Luka, LeBron, and Giannis would be exactly that. The challenge would then be finding the right supporting cast, the right role players who can complement that trio. But the Lakers have shown they can do that in the past. They just need to be smart about it. On the other hand, if Giannis goes elsewhere, the Lakers still have a plan. They can build a contender around Luka and LeBron, and they can still add the pieces needed to compete. The key will be making sure they do not waste their cap space or their assets on players who will not help in the long run. They need to focus on players who fit the system, who fit the culture, and who can help the team win now. The Lakers have a lot of pressure on them, but they also have a lot of opportunity. The next few months will be critical, and the decisions they make now will shape the team for years to come. Whether they land Giannis or not, the Lakers have the chance to build something special, but they need to act wisely and with purpose. But here is the thing. The Lakers cannot just sit and wait for Giannis forever. Even if he is the ultimate prize, the NBA does not stop moving just because one player might change teams. The league keeps evolving, and teams keep getting better. So the Lakers need to be careful not to let the moment pass them by. If they wait too long, the rest of the league could pull ahead. That is why even small moves matter. Not because they will instantly turn the Lakers into champions, but because they can improve the team's identity and build a stronger foundation. It is about creating a roster that is ready for anything, whether that includes Giannis or not. And that is the real challenge for Los Angeles. When you look at the Lakers roster right now, it is clear that there are gaps. They need defensive toughness, they need shooting, and they need players who can handle the physicality of playoff basketball. You can talk about stars all day, but championships are won with depth. The Lakers have had the luxury of star power for years, but the truth is that depth is what makes a team dangerous. That is why the offseason becomes so important. If the Lakers can add the right pieces, then they can turn this into a real championship contender. If they fail to add those pieces, then the Lakers risk being stuck in a cycle of hope and disappointment. That is not a place any fan wants to be. Another thing to consider is how the Lakers' identity is changing. With Luka and LeBron, the team is already built around two of the most dynamic players in the league. Adding Giannis would shift the style of play and the way the team operates. It would create a new kind of superstar trio, one that could dominate both offensively and defensively. But that also means the Lakers would need to adjust their strategy. They would need to find the right balance of spacing, ball movement, and defensive schemes. It would not be easy, but it would be worth it if they can make it work. And that is the key. Can it work? If it can, the Lakers would become an unstoppable force. But if Giannis does not come, the Lakers still have a path. The plan would be to build a strong supporting cast around the two stars, and that is not a bad strategy. In fact, it is the most realistic plan for many teams. Not every team gets a superstar trade, and not every team gets a perfect offseason. The Lakers can still be great without Giannis, but they need to commit to the plan and not let the uncertainty distract them. They need to be aggressive in free agency and make the right moves to improve the roster. If they do that, then the Lakers can still be a team that competes at the highest level. At the end of the day, the Lakers have options, and that is a powerful position to be in. They can chase Giannis, they can build around their current stars, or they can find a middle ground that keeps them competitive while preserving future flexibility. The important thing is that they make decisions with clarity and purpose. The next few months will reveal a lot about the direction of the franchise, and the choices they make now will echo for years. Lakers fans should be excited, but also patient, because this is a pivotal moment for the team. Whether Giannis comes or not, the Lakers are at a crossroads, and the outcome will define the next era of the franchise. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, the NBA rumor mill is once again spinning at full speed, and this time it circles around a name that has quietly become one of the most intriguing guards in the league, De'Aaron Fox. Whispers growing louder around league circles suggest that the Los Angeles Lakers are monitoring Fox's situation closely, fueling speculation that the explosive point guard could be headed to Hollywood in a blockbuster move that would reshape the franchise's immediate future. Fox's profile fits a narrative the Lakers have been trying to write for years. Fast, relentless in transition, and capable of creating offense without dominating the ball, he represents a bridge between eras. Sources close to the situation believe Los Angeles sees Fox not just as another star, but as a long-term solution at the guard position, someone who could thrive alongside established superstars while eventually carrying the torch himself. The idea of Fox pushing the pace in a purple and gold uniform has become a popular talking point among executives and scouts alike. From a basketball standpoint, the appeal is obvious. Fox's speed would add an entirely new dimension to a Lakers team that has often relied on half-court execution. His ability to penetrate defenses could open space for shooters and big men, while his improving leadership qualities suggest he is ready for a larger stage. Insiders hint that the Lakers' front office has been quietly assessing potential trade frameworks, weighing assets and future flexibility without making any public commitments. Of course, nothing is certain, and those familiar with the league caution that these discussions remain speculative. Yet the mere possibility of De'Aaron Fox arriving in Los Angeles has already captured attention across the NBA. Whether this rumor evolves into reality or fades into off-season folklore, it underscores a simple truth. The Lakers are once again dreaming big, and Fox's name is firmly in the conversation as a potential centerpiece of their next chapter. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.